Okay, we've hit the hour, so welcome everybody. Glad to have our old friends along today and also to welcome some new friends with us. So delighted to have you with us. Today we're looking at Cog2 clarifying roles. For those of you who didn't attend the original session, we explained that in any performance management process, and I use that word in its widest sense, there are 7 key elements that lead to optimum performance. These may or may not be designed, but they exist whether we do or not. So we went through them briefly. Setting direction. What's the organization trying to achieve? If you don't clarify that for individuals, they fill in the gaps themselves. We looked at that in some detail on the last session, and today we're going to be looking at clarifying roles, which is where the real engine of performance sets out. And in the following sessions, we'll be covering each of the other 5 components. We also explained that performance is complex. And as I said, I think I used the phrase performance management simply isn't simple. And in organizations, we have to have simple processes as part of our corporate governance, but those don't necessarily drive up performance. So what we're covering in these webinars is what actually drives up performance. And you might be looking at this from the perspective of an HR professional. How do we redesign our processes to do that? But you might also be looking at it purely from a manager's perspective. What do I do myself with my staff to optimize performance? And one of the first things you can do is clarify exactly what your expectations are. What do you want them to produce? How do you want them to produce it? And what development do you need them to achieve in order to do that? And we'll be looking at that in some detail on the next webinar. So we concluded at the beginning that what performance management is a set of processes. These processes clarify that aspect of performance, the what, the how, and the growth, and they make sure that it's influenced positively to achieve desired results, positive reputation, and enhanced capability. And the reason we need that is we now know, and research is increasingly bringing this to the fore, that actually what employees want is 4 things. They want clarity around what's expected of them, clarity around how they're perceived, clarity around what the priorities are. They want assurance that they're actually doing the right thing, and that's going to be good for them as well as for the organization. They want recognition, and recognition comes once a year or 4 times a year is not particularly effective, and we'll be looking at that in the 5th webinar. They also want empathy. They want appreciation and understanding of their circumstances. By the way, if you attended before, you'll have seen this QR code. This gives you access to a number of free downloadable documents that give you further insight into many of the topics that we cover. And again, you will receive a copy of the slide deck with that QR code in if you haven't taken it already. So we're 3 minutes in. What are we going to be covering today? Today, I want to focus on clarifying roles. And whilst this may sound incredibly simple, there's a lot of factors to actually consider. So I'm just going to take you through a number of these. And these are things which, as a manager, you can do whether or not you've actually got the formal corporate governance processes in place. So the first thing is, what is my role? And again, you say, well, surely everybody understands their role. What I've found myself, and I do a lot of consulting around productivity, and I find one of the first stumbling blocks in many organizations is if you ask individuals what their role is and you ask their manager what their role is, you get 2 completely different answers.